Hello, it's me, Goose. Well, finally, finally, after literally the entire month, I can finally debut the Old Man Yaoi video. Yes, it is time, my friends. So, before I start, again, I want to thank everyone for subscribing to my channel, liking my videos, leaving comments, putting a little hype boost and everything. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. We're about 551-ish, I believe, to my subscribers, which is pretty amazing. I am truly grateful, and I'm glad you guys like stop by and hear, rambling thoughts from my goose. Believe it or not, this is my fifth time recording this video. The first two times I had my goose avatar on there, and CapCut just does not want me to do that anymore. So, I guess you're gonna see my brown potato face from here on out until CapCut decides to be merciful again. Oh, that's not a problem. It shouldn't be. I'm delightful. But anyway, let's start with what we are here for, the Old Man Yaoi. Now, first of all, Old Man Yaoi is not a new thing. This is not just something that just sprung up out of the ground like daisies. This has been around in BL circles for quite some time. One of my favorite manga artists is Naobara. She's been pumping out Old Man Yaoi manga for quite some time. And it's always been just kind of on the peripheral of the BL, like, because mostly when people think of boys love, boy, they think of younger, boys, teens, stuff like that. They don't really think of more older, distinguished gentlemen or, failures. you know, they don't really think about that so much because it's kind of youth oriented, as most things are generally aimed towards a younger demographic for. But there's always been a delicious flavor, a hint, a umami towards the old men, because unlike the younger men, the older men usually are more mature. They have a little bit more worldly to them. They usually already kind of figured who they are, what they're all about. And so there's not a lot of like a preamble. There's not a lot of, oh, does senpai like me? I hope they like me. I like boys. What am I gonna do? And so, we can just get straight to the meat and potatoes. When they gonna fuck? But still, the joy of Old Man Yaoi is just going for different stories of it. And a lot of older Man Yaoi stories focus on, missed opportunities. Like they had a friend they knew in high school and they were always close to them. They always had feelings for them, but circumstances like society, like family obligations kind of kept them apart. And then, happenstance, one of them happened to be a widower, one of them never really married, one of them divorced, and they meet up one night going out for drinks, and then, things happen. Things happen. But it's not only in just the regular, BL manga universe. Old Man Yaoi is out there with TV and movies. I mean, last year's Conclave had a massive explosion of popularity for people online, especially for the fangirls, because we fell in it. If you don't know about Conclave, it's a 2024 movie about the Vatican's procedure on choosing who's the next pope is going to be, and there's a whole lot of conflict. There's a whole lot of you know stuff that going on to the choosing of who the new pope is going to be. A lot of controversies, favoritism, some intrigue, stuff like that going in there. There's a leaf blower machine out there. I'm sorry that you might hear it in the audio, but it's really cool. I love when they do that little with a little vacuum. It's cool. Anyway, but needless to say, it blew up. Like there was and there still is. Actually, they're having their second reprint. Pubcrave is a Twitter account where they were promoting their zine, their Conclave zine, and the proceeds for the zine goes into a charity for aiding Palestinians, which is amazing. Needless to say, it went really, 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 really well. And Pope Crave is still active, still doing, promotions, mostly on the hands of talking about the newer Pope that just was just brought into the office. And I believe they were officially recognized by the Vatican. There's a couple of pictures that I managed to get up the site where they have little Pope dolls and stuff. It's really cute. It's really cute. But that's a primarily older. There's older men. There's not like a young 21-year-old life boy in anywhere in there. They're all have the pairings up with, I bear in mind, it's been a while since I watched Conclave, so I forgot all the details for it. But the ships, they shipping. they are they are shipping in the Conclave fandom. Another one that has been popular is Squid Games. Between the two main characters, the main antagonist and the main protagonist. I have not watched Squid Games because I have anxiety. And that show is just nothing but anxiety for me. But I do love and respect the fandom. I love the ship. I think, hey, sure, I'm enemies to lovers. That's my bag. Y'all already know. I love the enemies to lovers. But while and these are several others, like, of course, it's House, and there's Severance of what the people that I have on my thumbnail there from Severance in there. So we need to talk about one of the reasons why it's such an attraction to Old Man Yaoi. Like, what would draw so many younger people into shipping, these 40, 50, 60, sometimes 80 some year old characters and actors together? And it's different. It's very different. It's a unique kind of experience. It is that one of the analogies I read, I probably forgot what that analogy was, is the idea of a wilted flower coming to bloom, if that makes any sense. It's a weird kind of analogy, but it kind of works. It's like, these older gentlemen who, like I said previously, have missed out on connections, missed out on a relationship with each other because of a whole bunch of other things that were in their way, and they're finding each other again. Or the idea of that, that their heart has been cold by grief or circumstances, and it's kind of being reignited again. And that's a really intriguing prospect if you're a writer or any of your artists too, because drawing these older faces is a challenge as an artist. I mean, just making them look like older men, can be tricky. And before I say it, immortals are not the same thing as Old Man Yaoi. Your 4,000-year-old vampire who has the face and body structure of a 24-year-old man. Not the same thing as one. That is immortals. That is like something completely different. But it also presents just a great challenge of trying to make these, faces feel like they're older. Like they are, weathered. They are timed. They experienced, as it were, on here. The best example I've seen of the success of Old Man Yaoi happens to come from the boosting of a certain account that, if you are an Old Man Yaoi fandom, you know who this account is. It's Maru, or Maru Reverie on Twitter, who has been just, the real G on Twitter by promoting and boosting a lot of BL novels and mangas and properties on their account. And they've been going at it for a while. They're not new at that. They've been doing a couple of years or so. And recently, or I can't say recently, but what got viral recently was they were promoting a Old Man Yaoi novel by mangaka Michiru Sono. And I'm not gonna butcher the name because I will put it right here. They are a manga artist who has lamented the struggles of getting their works sold. Just like any other publishing fandom, what do you name it? Old Man Yaoi is a very small genre of BL, and it's very tailored to that group. And like with most publishing houses, they want the widest audience possible. They want to reach, what kids are reading now. They want the mafias, they want the shifter romances, they want the Omega verses, stuff like that. And so it can be struggle to find your audience when you're making something that's so uniquely tailored to a specific set of fans. And they were lamenting that they weren't getting a lot of sales. And if that happens, I believe they get dropped from their publisher, which, sucks balls. But Maru found their latest work, and they were like, this work is amazing. It's about two businessmen who are separated in time. They're old friends, and they go out to celebrate drinking together. It's a very traditional Japanese kind of thing for businessmen to do. And they decided, one day we're going to go to a hot spring. They're going to go to like a sauna, or like a retreat. And then, one thing leads to another, and something sparks between them. And it's actually a really nice novel. It was a really nice manga, and it's really cute. It's a little steamy, but not too steamy. And Maru boosted it. And the next thing you know, Michiru Sano, she, wow. Because it started to go viral. People started retweeting, like, where's the manga? Where can we read it? Where can we access it? Where is it at? And Michiru was like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? And here we are, months later, they have a contract that's having the manga being English published. I think I got another story that's also probably going to be English published. I don't know what the physical copy is out yet. I got to double check. I'll probably put an update here in the video. Needless to say, they're doing great. And the word Old Man Yaoi has now spread from the English speaking fandom to the Japanese and Eastern speaking fandoms because they're like, what is the Old Man Yaoi? We never even heard of this thing. And they found it was absolutely delightful, which it is. It's like, oh, that actually makes a lot of sense. Old Man Yaoi. And now they're starting to use their version of that tag to promote their books on their side of the ocean. And over here, we're doing the same thing. We are boosting up the Old Man Yaoi in promotion and advertisements and anything like that, in TikToks, you name it, because there are people who want to read this particular work. And it's just great. It also wound up having people who were like, well, monks, like, yeah, I draw old men, I draw older men, mature men together. Can I get on this Twitter? Hold up. Can I get down on here? And also another word that was, coined here in the West and then it kind of got a foothold in Japan East was fujoing out. They were like, I like that term. So there's a beautiful cross-cultural exchange of, old man Fujos in the West, old man Fujos of the East, combined to create, and promote and show their love of all things Old Man Yaoi. And I think that's very something that's very important to talk about, beyond the aspects of older couples being in love. Because again, this is not just only old man. There's old man. There's old woman Yuri too. I think it's even smaller than old man. We got to boost that. We got to get the girls. The older ladies need the love too. There's some fine older ladies that need to get the kissing and the hugging as well. But I think it's wonderful that the world of BL is such a gigantic quilt of stuff. Whatever you like your Megaverse, cool. Like your Mafia, cool. You like your Old Man Yaoi, even cooler. You want to combine all of them together? Now you're cooking. now you're cooking with gas. And so I guess the question to ask to you, what do you think of Old Man Yaoi? Do you have a particular favorite couple in there? Are you like me? Are you a Hanagram? Are you a Hanagram shipper? I know you're out there. Y'all watching it. You're watching some Hanagram because I'm watching some Hanagram on there. Leave your comments and your suggestions down below in the comments, and let me know. Let me drop some fig recommendations. Come on, hook a girl up. Hook a girl up because I got a flight to leave next week. I gotta have stuff to read. So that's the end of my video. If you can, please go ahead and follow Michiru on Twitter. I'll leave their app right here. Support them as well as supporting Michiru Sono and their adorable tweets because they're learning English and it's just amazing. Like we got you, girl. We got you on there. And support your manga. Support your creators out there that are making the works that you like. Because when you support them, they can support you. And that makes the whole world go round. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Goose. I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna find me some Hanagram fix. And I'll see you guys next time.